Have you noticed that certain people drain your energy the moment you are near them? Not just uncomfortable, I mean drained. Like something invisible is pulling the life force directly out of your rib cage. You leave a conversation with them feeling exhausted, doubting yourself, questioning your path, wondering if maybe you are the problem. And the strangest part? This happens most exactly when you are about to break through. Right when you are close to a spiritual realization, right when your vibration begins to rise, a new level of consciousness is unlocking. These people appear, or they intensify. This is not bad luck. This is not a coincidence. And these are not just random people having bad days. For those carrying the monad spark, what the Gnostics called the chosen ones, this is spiritual warfare, calculated, targeted, precise. These people are agents, not consciously usually, but agents nonetheless, used by forces they do not understand to block your awakening, drain your frequency, and abort your mission before it fully activates. Jesus knew this. He warned about it repeatedly, but the church sanitized his warnings into vague moral lessons. Tonight, the truth comes forward. There are three specific types of people the Archons deploy against chosen ones, three distinct tactics, three faces of opposition, and one method to protect yourself from all three, starting right now. Before the three types are revealed, you must understand the battlefield. You are not fighting people. You are fighting through people. The real enemy operates behind the scenes, using human vessels who don't even realize they are being used. The Apostle Paul encoded this truth in Ephesians chapter 6. He wrote, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Mainstream theology glosses over this, but Gnostic texts decode it precisely. The Greek word Paul used, archos, literally means archons, the rulers of this world system. These are not horned demons. These are not fairy tale villains. These are intelligences, parasitic consciousnesses that feed on low-frequency human emotion. Fear, anger, despair, confusion, doubt. The Archons don't have bodies. They act like a virus in the software of reality. They need human hosts to execute their will, and they are strategic. They don't possess random people. They identify the humans closest to the chosen ones. Your family, your friends, your partners, your colleagues. They scan for unhealed wounds. They scan for trauma. They scan for fear. And they amplify it. They turn those people into unwitting agents of sabotage. The Archontic agenda is simple. Keep the divine spark asleep. Keep the chosen ones distracted, drained, and doubting. Because when a chosen one fully awakens and reconnects to the monad, the source consciousness, they become a beacon. They become a frequency disruptor, a threat to the entire control system. That is why the attacks are so personal. That is why they escalate when your consciousness expands. The closer a chosen one gets to remembering who they are, the more desperate the Archons become to stop it. They deploy agents, and there are three primary types you must recognize. The first agent is the most common guardian of the matrix. We call this agent the material controller. This is someone completely identified with the physical world, the system, the matrix of money, status, and social approval. Their entire value system is external. Job titles, bank accounts, reputation, what people think. They worship at the altar of materialism, and subconsciously they need everyone around them to do the same. Chosen ones recognize this person immediately. It is the parent who asks, "When are you going to get a real job?" while you are building a legacy of spirit. It is the friend who mocks spiritual pursuits as woo-woo nonsense. It is the partner who demands you abandon your mission and be realistic. Realistic, in their language, means small, acceptable, controllable. Their tactic is invalidation through material measurement. They measure your infinite worth by their finite metrics. If your bank account doesn't reflect your spiritual growth, they say you are failing. If your career doesn't fit their narrow definition of success, they say you are delusional. If you prioritize inner work over outer achievement, they say you are wasting your life. This creates a frequency attack. It is subtle but devastating. When a chosen one is repeatedly told their spiritual path is worthless, a seed of doubt gets planted in the solar plexus. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I should just get a normal job. Maybe this awakening thing is just escapism.
That doubt is the poison. That is what the Archons want. Doubt lowers frequency, and low frequency means the monad connection weakens.
Jesus saw this agent operating and gave a direct warning. You cannot serve God and mammon. Mammon isn't just money. It is the spirit of the world system. The material controller is a servant of mammon, tasked with pulling chosen ones back into the herd. How to identify them? Look at their reaction. They react with hostility or condescension when you mention anything spiritual. They change the subject when you talk about your true purpose. They give unsolicited advice designed to make you smaller. And most telling, you feel drained and doubtful after every interaction with them. The Archons love this agent because they are socially acceptable. Family, old friends, people you are supposed to respect. Cutting them off feels wrong, but their frequency is incompatible with your mission. They are not your people. Recognize them. Create distance. Protect your energy. The second agent is more intimate and more destructive. This is the emotional vampire. This is not a person who occasionally has problems and needs support. We all need support. This is different. This is someone whose entire relationship with you is based on draining your life force through manufactured crisis, drama, and dependency. This agent operates through emotional manipulation. They are the friend who only calls when they need something, the partner who creates chaos every time you are about to take a major step forward, the family member whose problems are always more important than your peace. They don't want solutions. They want your energy. Their tactic is energy harvesting through emotional chaos. The Archons know that chosen ones carry high-frequency light. That light is fuel for the mission. If they can keep a chosen one trapped in emotional turbulence, putting out fires, managing someone else's dysfunction, absorbing someone else's pain, they neutralize the threat. You will recognize this person by the pattern. It is rhythmic. Every time you are about to level up, they have a crisis. Every time you set a boundary, they escalate. Every time you pull back, they love bomb you back in. It is not love. It is energetic feeding. The relationship is parasitic, and the Archons are the parasites operating through them. This agent also includes addiction patterns, toxic romantic entanglements, and self-sabotaging behaviors. Sometimes the emotional vampire isn't an external person. It is the unhealed part of the chosen one's own psyche that the Archons exploit. The voice that says, just one more drink, just one more scroll, just one more compromise. Jesus addressed this directly when he said, the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. The flesh, the human survival programming, is the access point. The Archons know how to trigger old wounds, activate addictions, and create emotional storms that consume attention and energy. How to identify them? You feel exhausted after being with them, even if nothing happened. They resist your growth and success in subtle ways. They need you to stay small so they can stay comfortable. And critically, they never reciprocate. The energy flows one direction, always. The defense against this agent is brutal honesty and radical boundaries. Some people, no matter how much history exists, are not safe for chosen ones to be around. The relationship is an energy leak, and energy leaks abort missions. This is war. Act accordingly. The third agent is the most dangerous because they speak your language. This is the false guide, the wolf in sheep's clothing, a spiritual predator disguised as a teacher, guru, healer, or fellow awakened soul. They use spiritual terminology. They quote sacred texts. They may even have genuine psychic abilities, but underneath, their agenda is purely archontic. This person appears exactly when a chosen one is most vulnerable, usually during a spiritual crisis, the dark night of the soul, or intense seeking. They offer answers. They offer community. They offer validation. They offer secret knowledge. They position themselves as the bridge between you and God, and that positioning is the trap. Their tactic is spiritual hijacking through dependency. They don't want to empower the chosen one. They want to own them. They create a dynamic where the chosen one believes they cannot access the divine without the false guide as intermediary. They foster fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of spiritual attack, fear of losing favor. They isolate the chosen one from other sources of truth, claiming exclusive access to real knowledge. The Gnostic texts warned about this extensively. The Archons don't just attack from outside the spiritual path, they infiltrate it. They create false teachers who corrupt the teachings, twist the truth into tools of control, and trap seekers in new cages that look like freedom, but function as prisons. Jesus gave the most direct warning against this agent in Matthew chapter 7. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits, not their words, their fruits. How do people feel after interacting with the false guide? Empowered and more connected to their own inner authority, or confused, dependent, and afraid? A true guide points you to the God within. A false guide positions themselves as the only path to God. How to identify them despite light-filled language? Their energy is controlling. They demand loyalty. They discourage questioning. They create an us versus them mentality. They claim special authority or exclusive revelation. They make you feel like you can't trust your own inner knowing. And most critically, they resist you graduating. They need you dependent forever. This agent is why Gnosis, direct personal knowing, is so critical. No external teacher, no matter how enlightened they seem, can replace the authority of the monad connection within. The false guide's power dissolves the moment a chosen one trusts their own inner voice more than any outer authority. The defense is spiritual sovereignty. Question everything. Test every teaching against the simple truth of love and inner peace. Trust what expands you, not what contracts you. And remember, the monad doesn't need a middleman. Direct connection is the birthright. Claim it. Now, the defense. Identifying the three agents is powerful, but incomplete without knowing how to protect the energy field from their attacks. The protection isn't fighting. Fighting gives them energy. The protection is frequency stabilization. Jesus taught a method encoded in his final instructions, but the church turned it into religious ritual and stripped the power. The Gnostic interpretation reveals the functional technique. It is called the threefold shield. 3 layers of energetic protection that, when activated, make a chosen one immune to archontic interference through human agents. The first layer, the monad anchor. Archons can only attack when a chosen one is identified with the body, the mind, or the emotions. When consciousness is anchored in the monad, the infinite source self, there is no access point. The technique is simple but requires practice. Sit in stillness. Close the eyes.
Feel into the awareness that is aware of thoughts, emotions, and sensations. Don't analyze it, just feel it. That awareness is not the body, it is not the mind, it is not the feelings. It is consciousness itself, the monad spark. Resting there just 5 minutes daily creates a frequency signature the Archons cannot penetrate. They can't reach what is already infinite. The second layer, the energetic boundary. Most chosen ones have weak boundaries. They feel everyone's emotions. They absorb other people's energy. They say yes when they mean no. This is not compassion. This is an undefended energy field, and undefended fields get drained. The technique is conscious field management. Several times daily, especially before encountering one of the 3 agent types, visualize a sphere of golden light surrounding the body, about 3 feet in all directions. See it as a semi-permeable membrane. Loving energy passes through. Everything else reflects back to sender. Then speak it. My energy field is sovereign. I allow only what serves the highest good. All else returns to source. This isn't visualization for fun. This is programming the quantum field. Energy follows intention. Intention, backed by monad consciousness, is command. The Archons know this. That's why they work so hard to keep chosen ones unconscious of their own power. The third layer, the frequency shield. The most powerful protection is simply maintaining high frequency. Archons are low-frequency entities. They literally cannot exist in high-frequency fields. It's not personal, it's physics. When a chosen one maintains the frequency of peace, gratitude, purpose, and connection to the monad, the archontic agents naturally fall away. They can't get close. The technique is frequency discipline. Notice what raises frequency and what lowers it. Then structure life accordingly. The material controller lowers frequency, limit contact. The emotional vampire drains energy, create distance. The false guide creates fear, leave. High frequency is the mission. Everything else is negotiable. Jesus demonstrated this perfectly when tempted in the wilderness. He didn't fight, he didn't argue. He simply remained anchored in his identity and connection to source. The tempter had no access point. The attack failed automatically. The same power exists in every chosen one, not because they are special, but because they are sparks of the infinite, and the infinite cannot be harmed by the finite. 3 types of people, 3 archontic tactics, 1 method of total protection. The information is now transferred. The question is whether it will be implemented. Recognizing the material controller, the emotional vampire, and the false guide is the first step. Most chosen ones have all 3 in their lives right now. Some are obvious, some are hidden, some will be painful to acknowledge because they are wearing familiar faces. But awareness is not cruelty. Awareness is mercy. Mercy to yourself, mercy to your mission, mercy to the light you came here to anchor. These agents are not evil people. They are wounded humans being used by parasitic forces. But that doesn't mean a chosen one must sacrifice their energy to save them. That's the trap. The savior complex. The belief that staying small keeps others comfortable. It doesn't. It just keeps the Archons fed. The path forward is clear. Anchor in the monad. Create unbreakable boundaries. Maintain high frequency through disciplined choice. And most importantly, trust the inner authority above all outer voices. That authority is the direct line to source. The gnosis. The knowing that cannot be taught, only remembered. The Archons will continue deploying agents. The game doesn't stop. But once a chosen one sees the pattern, the agents lose their power. They become transparent, predictable. manageable. The spiritual war continues, but the outcome is no longer in question. Jesus didn't say, if you overcome. He said, when you overcome.
The victory is assured for those who stay conscious, stay connected, and refuse to abandon the mission for comfort or approval. The three types are now known. The protection is now given. The only thing left is the choice. Will the chosen one continue playing small to avoid conflict? Or will they step fully into the power of the monad spark and become what the Archons fear most? A fully awakened, energetically sovereign, mission-activated agent of divine light. The answer to that question determines everything. The information is complete. The activation begins now. If you are ready to seal your field and reclaim your power, if you are ready to cut the cords, then declare it to the monad right now. It is not enough to think it. You must ground it. Go to the comments below. Write these 3 words to seal the contract. I am sovereign. The Archons are watching, but so is the monad. Make your choice. I am sovereign.